this week's video. As we conclude our Camino journey series here, we're gonna end it with a nice little gear review in terms of what ended up making it into my bag for my trip. Pretty much a lot of it stayed the same from the first video that I did several months back. I'll put the link up here in the description as well as in the pinned comment if you want to take a look and compare and contrast that if you want to. But in this bag was pretty much, you know, everything that I lived off for 30 days, 33 days at most. And it's done me pretty well. It survived, surprisingly. One thing I did have go missing was a patch that I had attached to the front. Apparently that got lost somewhere within transit when I was on my way to St. Jean, but I got a new one, so now it's neatly on there, so it's kind of complete again. But without further ado, let's get into everything that I took with me. Now to start off, I ended up walking from mid-May to mid-June, so from May 14th to about June 17th, so which is about late spring, kind of early summer-ish. So at that time, the weather was pretty much still within the nice, cool, breezy, rainy season to about the warm heat once we got into the Meseta. So there were days where it was pretty hot right in the middle of walking, and then it got pretty cool in the mornings, especially when we're leaving the hostels or albergues, and when we're, you know, just out and about in the evenings once we stop walking for the day. So definitely prepare for any kind of weather as much as possible, except for snow. It did rain a few times while we were walking, especially in the first couple of weeks. And once we hit Galicia towards the final week there, so we did have some bouts of rain and mist, but not too much in terms of having any sort of disruption to our, you know, our journey. So to start, the backpack I took was the Osprey Crestel 38. Now, if you're gonna get a backpack, do get yourself measured from an RAI or Decathlon because your backpack size is dependent on the inches of your torso. So mine's kind of a small pack for a 16-inch torso. It looked a little bit big on me, but it actually fit perfectly for my size. So I was pretty happy with how this one turned out. I decorated a little bit, as you can see the patches I got in here, plus my little, you know, Camino trinkets on the side here. There's some great, you know, pockets here that was useful for me when I was walking, and of course the waist straps are really helpful in terms of helping distribute the weight so that everything's not squarely on your shoulders, and a lot of it will be on your hips and your waist, so which is great for these types of backpacks. So definitely would recommend this one, but if you are going to use these types of backpacks, definitely get measured, or if you measure yourself and figure out what the size is in terms of which band you're looking for, and that will help you out. Now the next bag I had with me was my waist pack, or my over-the-shoulder cross-body bag. This one was pretty much on me the whole time because this contained my wallet, my ID, my pilgrim's passport, my actual travel passport. Any of the important documents that I had was in here, you know, including any cash that I had, plus some, you know, small items like my lip gloss, chapstick, sunscreen. I had a small little facial sunscreen that I kept in the pocket here. So it done me pretty well. This one is pretty spacious. This one's from Herschel that I got, that I use daily actually, even to this day. And it done me really well. And it wasn't too heavy when I was carrying it around, so I was pretty much used to it. So this is what I kept on me the whole entire time. Even when I went to go in the shower, I just hung it, you know, wherever my towel was to make sure that, you know, I didn't leave it anywhere behind. We'll start from the bottom up of what I kept in my bag here. So in the bottom pocket here, there's actually a rain cover for my bag, which I used a few times when it was raining while we were walking. So that was really helpful in keeping the bag dry and all the items inside dry. So really glad I had that option in my pack. First up, microfiber towel. These are actually great in having them like a quick dry, especially when you're taking a shower and you don't want to, have a wet towel with you the whole entire time. So these ones are really great to dry quickly if there's no room in the, the drying racks in your hostel or albergue. So good to have. This one is a 24 by 20 inch towel, which is perfect for my size, and it came with a little carrying case that I took out here and there. So definitely took that one. Next would be the inflatable pillow. I used this actually a few times during my Camino. I needed it just to elevate my feet a little bit. Since we only were given one pillow where we were staying for the night, this was actually great for me in terms of helping my feet relax after a long day. So I would definitely take this again if I had to. Not necessary, but it was something. Now, some people had taken sleeping bags. I took a bed liner, and this one was from Will Horn. I got from Amazon. This one was actually really great. There's a lot of nights where it was pretty humid and warm. A few nights where it was a cold. I think it was probably within the first 2 weeks and within the last week, but it was not too much. So this was actually just perfect for me. A lot of the albergues and hostels I stayed at had some sort of blanket, so I didn't have to worry too much. But definitely a lightweight sleeping bag would help. But this one worked out for me just fine, and it was big enough, and it kept me warm enough. The clothes didn't change much from when I first mentioned them in my first video. I took an extra. This is like a shoe bag, but this was great for actually holding my laundry that I needed to be washed either between the second or third day. So it kept all my clean clothes separate from my dirty clothes. Ziploc bags work fine, but I usually had this just to keep my slippers in. But definitely worked out to keep laundry as well. Now for my clothes, I put them in these little compression bags, which really helped a lot to kind of minimize or maximize the space I had in my bag. So this small one contained all my underwear, socks, and I think that was it. So I had like 4 pairs of hiking socks. These are the Darn Tough socks, and I would switch them out if my feet were too sweaty or if I had stepped in a puddle and got wet. But these were great. I had 4, 2 bras, 3 underwears. A lot of hostels and albergues will have washing facilities, either wash or dryer or like hand washing them. So I did that quite often, either every 2-3 days depending. So I didn't have to worry about running out of clothes or figuring out where I'm gonna wash it. There was one instance we didn't use a laundromat, but it wasn't too often, and a lot of the times the places we stayed at had adequate washing facilities. And in the big compression bag is where my main clothing was, the ones I wore, like my shirts and my pants that I would wear for walking. I would switch out for in the day. So this is kind of like a quick dry shirt that I wore for after walking. It was good because I didn't want to wear my jacket that I was wearing throughout the day. So this was good just to cover my arms if I was cold, just to kind of layer with my shirt. So it was pretty comfy. My main walking pants were these convertible pants that I got from REI. You may have seen a couple of times they had the detachable leg pants, so I could convert them into shorts when I needed to. These were my everyday main walking pants that I had. These were pretty good to walk in for a good 2 days and then just wash it and then wear it for another 2 days because you'll be walking through them quite a bit. Now I have 2 short sleeve merino wool shirts that I would swap every 2-3 days. The great things about these is that you could wear them for 2-3 times and then switch out for the other shirt and laundry in the next one. Now for when I was done walking, I kept with these kind of capri pants from Colombia. This was for when I was out and about. These are actually great just to, you know, when we're out for dinner, just to go out and, you know, just explore the city. And I would wear that usually with this long sleeve merino wool shirt. I reserved this one specifically when I'm just out, you know, to dinner with the Camino family, or just relaxing in the albergue, or what I would sleep at night, so that way I'm not mixing, you know, the two together. And of course, when I got back to my hostel for the night and I was ready for bed, I'd swap out for these, you know, flexible running pants, so that way I'm just not sleeping in the stuff that I've been walking out and about on. So I just swap out of that, and then in the morning, just change out into my, you know, walking pants, and then just go about with my day. All right, hat. I've had some people ask me about this. This is actually a military-style boonie hat, I believe. I got this from an army surplus store, and it's really great, and it's kept my head cool throughout the whole journey. I've had this for many years, and I've used it for so many outdoor events, and I really love it. If you can find one from an army surplus store, definitely get one. Otherwise, you know, there's plenty, you know, in any outdoor sporting goods store, they would have similar styles like this. Now, there were instances where it was really, really, really cold and my hands were freezing, so it's a good thing I actually brought myself some gloves. These are actually my running gloves that I used when I was training for the marathon, and they're really great, and they have kind of like the rubber texture in them, as well as the finger and thumb like surface area for when you're using your phone, and they kept my hands really nice and warm when I needed it, especially when I'm holding my walking sticks most of the time, and my hands were exposed to the elements when it was super cold. So this is really great to have, and I'm really glad I brought it. I almost didn't, but in the last second I just tossed it in my bag and came in handy. And of course, there were moments when my little, you know, boonie hat here would not cover my head adequately and keep me warm. So I also brought a kind of like a, you know, beanie just to keep my head warm, and it was actually really great. Especially, I used it a few times, especially the first week, and I needed it because I tend to get cold easily. So this is something that I was really glad I brought, because if I hadn't, whew, I would have been way colder than I thought. Now, in my first video that I put out, I actually was going to bring 2 jackets with me. One was a puffy jacket that I had gotten from Uniqlo, and then this second jacket, which is kind of like an all-around, all-weather type jacket. I ended up putting my puffy jacket in my luggage that I sent forward to Santiago, and just pretty much used my all-weather jacket throughout the whole journey. If you watch the series, this is the jacket that I wore. It is from Under Armour, and it's kind of like a, well, pretty much a medium rain jacket that I use for training for my marathons and other races. And this has actually done me pretty well, keeping me nice and warm when it was cold out during those rainy days, and it was pretty insulated inside. I was surprised to see that, and it kept me dry too. So I really love this jacket. They should have something similar still, but definitely would take this again if I had to. Now, at the end of the day, I didn't really want to bring around my big backpack to explore the city, so of course I brought my little day pack. This one is like a little packable one that you just, you know, kind of fold into itself, and it'll become like a little pouch you just stuff in your bag. And at the end of the day, I just use this just to, you know, stuff my groceries into, keep my little over-the-shoulder pack in here to take around with me, so I'm just not like walking around with it on my shoulder the whole time. And I like the double strap, so it's not putting a lot of pressure on just one side of my neck. So this was really great. This was definitely perfect for me to have. Can't forget the buff I almost lost over there. This one I actually got at St. Jean. This is really great as a kind of a neck gaiter to protect your neck from the elements. If you watch the videos again, I usually have it around my neck just to protect my neck from, you know, the elements of like the weather, whether it was cold. Definitely when it was hot, I didn't have to put sunscreen as much on my neck, which was great. You could use this as kind of like a bandana, a wrist, you know, thing. Now the design on this one has the Camino stamps, which is really great when I saw it at the store in St. Jean. Now you can't get this here in the US. I've tried to find out where I can buy it. This is actually, Buff is a Spanish brand, believe it or not. So these are designed actually in Spain. So the prices on Amazon were, you know, a little ridiculous in getting this design. So when I went to Spain, it was perfect that, you know, they had that there, so I had to get it. And this will come with me on my next Camino. So this survived the Frances, and then who knows which one this will go on to next. Electronics. Now, I just kind of stuffed everything back in here after coming back. So overall, I got this kind of a dry bag. This is actually great for keeping things really dry. I use this as kind of like my electronics bag. Just to keep anything like batteries and stuff dry. So let's go through it. One of the things I had with me was a 35mm camera. I took 2 rolls of color film. They're being released now on my photography Instagram, so if you want to follow that, check out some of the photos, you definitely can. I love photography, and this is one of the things I enjoy doing, so I had that. I actually kept this in the waist pocket of my backpack, so when I saw something that interested me, I just, you know, pulled it out, snapped the photo, and put it back in the pocket. So it wasn't really in here in my backpack. It was something where I had easy access to. Next, the cameras that I took 2 technically. I took a GoPro. This is the GoPro Hero 9. It done me really well, took a lot of footage, and I had attached it to my backpack via a strap that goes around the backpack strap, so that way when I'm walking around and I'm not using it, I could just hang the camera on my backpack like this. If you watch closely on the vlogs, you'll actually see the GoPro just hanging out on my shoulder here while I'm walking and talking to the camera. So it was good to have, especially if I see something, I just point the camera where I needed to. But it was, you know, kept my hands free of having to carry so much, especially when I'm holding my walking poles. This was actually good just to have it hanging out there on my shoulder. And of course, another way that I was able to attach my GoPro was via a kind of selfie stick tripod. I use this a lot. I love this. This is one of the many setups that I use in terms of when I'm vlogging, you know, doing like day trip stuff. So this is actually from Insta360, because I do use the Insta360 camera every once in a while. This is actually a tripod selfie stick. It goes that far. So for certain shots, if I wanted, you know, walking shots here, I would just extend it, you know, do my shot, and just put it back when I'm done. Now this was really helpful in terms of, you know, when I wanted to do my little walking, tracking shots and whatnot. There were moments where I had to put the tripod down just to do a little walking away shots here and there, nothing too long that some people might do. So I just, you know, few steps, it's more than enough, come back, pick it up, continue walking. So it was good to have, also just to, you know, not have to balance it on something like a rock and have it fall. And this is not too heavy to carry around, which is great. I like to be as minimalist as possible in terms of my equipment. So I did quite a bit of research before going into the Camino to, you know, maximize the amount of stuff I'm bringing, but also making sure that the weight wasn't too much for me to be unbearable. Now the other camera I took with me was a Sony ZV-1. I didn't have the cage I usually have attached to it because it kind of got a little heavy, so I removed that and just took the actual camera body with me. I use this for when I'm, you know, walking around exploring the town or a city I was in for the night. Of course, my SD cards. Now in this case contained all my little wires that I would have needed for the trip, kind of like my USB-C cables, my lightning cables, my, you know, things for charging. Definitely something light and compact that I could just squish into my backpack. And of course, the batteries. I did take some extra GoPro batteries that I had here. This is a rechargeable case that carried, you know, extra GoPro batteries in here, and I just plugged it in at night. As well as for the ZV-1, I had some extra batteries just in case I needed it. I have those in its own little charging case as well. Now, a power bank. Definitely something to take with you, especially if you're walking the Camino, because if you're going to be using GPS or trying to communicate with your hostel during the day, or trying to figure out, you know, certain things here and there, this will be a lifesaver for you. This is a 10,000 watt, I believe, power bank from BioLite. You don't need anything bigger than this. This is actually perfect because most of the time you end up running out of battery like later in the day. So of course we can't forget my phone, my iPhone. This was actually my lifeline in terms of communicating with people, the Camino family, my hostels, albergues. I use this quite a bit in terms of, you know, getting around. So definitely this was a must to bring along. Now I did have with me my DJI microphone that I'm using actually right now for this video, and my iPad, but I ended up putting those in my luggage that I had transferred ahead of time to Santiago because I didn't really need it during my trip, and was just added weight that I wasn't going to need. So I just ended up using it when I was completely done walking in the journey, just to review everything that I had. But overall, not needed because the way I transferred my footage was through the phone. I had an adapter that was able to attach to the iPhone into my little mini hard drive that I had, just to, you know, make sure I offloaded all the necessary footage I had from that day. And speaking of hard drives, this is the one that I use to transfer all my footage into. It's one of those Samsung T7 SSD drives. It's about 2 terabytes, which is enough to capture, you know, everything that I took for a good 34 days total, including my Madrid trip. So it lasted me pretty well. I did capture a lot, and somehow I still had some room left over. Definitely I would take this one again. It's really compact, super easy. It's not as bulky as the other ones that you could take along, so it is very handy. Now, speaking of plugs, Europe is different from the US. We have kind of like the 2-prong system in terms of like the 2 flat prongs or 2-3 flat prongs. So I got this little, you know, plug brick that has kind of the multi-country options. So this one just, you know, pops out like this. Just plug it in. It has 4 USB options plus a USB-C on the side. And if you have like an actual brick that you want to plug into, you can do that as well. And it has like the multi-country options on the front here. And it's really great. It worked out really well since I had, you know, a few items to charge at night, you know, the batteries, my phone. So having that option to have multiple outlets is great. Also, if, you know, someone needs to share a plug and whatnot, which I did a few times on the Camino with other people, this is great to share with others. Poles. Now, there's a whole debate I've seen online in terms of whether or not you could take poles on your flight over. Now, I didn't have any, so which is something I knew I was going to get when I went to St. Jean. So I got these ones from the little shop right down the Pilgrim's office there. This one was like 50 bucks, I think, because I like the cork candles here, but they have some that are, you know, cheaper than this. Definitely, it's a good investment. I was able to take it back with me because I checked my luggage in, so it fit in there. But, you know, it's kind of sentimental value now because I walked my journey with this, so this is like my extra legs. Now for my after walking footwear, I brought my UFO slides. These are really great. They're super comfortable. They have a lot of support for my feet, especially after walking, you know, several kilometers and miles a day. The cushion and the material of it is perfect for, you know, letting my feet rest while I was out and about, you know, exploring the town or city I was in. So definitely will bring these again. And of course, last but not least, my shoes. Let's just say my trail runners have survived the whole entire trip. They are retired now, so I can't necessarily use them as much as I did earlier. But here they are. These are the Ultra Lone Peak 8s. They did me really well. I did add some insoles when I got to, I believe, either Logroño or Logroño, just to help, you know, comfort my feet, because these are zero drop shoes, meaning there's not much support on them, but they were really helpful in terms of getting me from point A to point B every single day. And I love these. The treads are pretty much gone, so these are retired now, but I might get these same ones again if I do the Camino again. Foot balm. This was actually great. I put this on every night to keep my feet, you know, relaxed and not too rough when walking. So I would put this on every night before going to sleep, so that way my feet will be nice and rested and it's not dried out in terms of all the stuff that I've been, you know, putting on it prior. Of course, my journal. I had to have this with me. And last but not least, my little snack bag. This is a little mesh bag that I got in St. Jean when I got there. I didn't have time to grab one here in the States when I did, so this is actually really great. I put like a bag of chips in there, some fruit when I had to, just to keep it separate from everything else, so which is great. Anything in terms of like wet foods like cheese, any of the jamon and whatnot, I had a separate Ziploc bag I could keep those in, so that way they're not kind of mixing up together. A little spork duo. I used this maybe once or twice. It was good to have, especially when I needed something to, you know, eat with. Some places didn't have, you know, adequate utensils, so this was good to have. A little pocket knife. This one is an Opinel little pocket knife. I think this is a number 6. But this is the perfect size, you know, for cutting cheese, definitely breads. I had to use it on a few occasions when I was walking about just to, you know, cut some stuff. Definitely handy to have. My little headlamp, I use this maybe once outside, but mainly I use this one quite a bit indoors, especially in the mornings. This has a red light setting on it, so that way I'm not flashing people with the bright white lights trying to get my stuff in the morning. So I would just hang it from my neck, facing down, so that way I, you know, could see what I'm doing. Oop. There you go, red light setting. And of course, for hydration, I didn't take a bladder with me, even though this backpack can handle, I believe, 2-liter bladder at most, if you're gonna use that to take your hydration. But this little Camelback, little squeezy water bottle was actually really great. I kept this in my little cargo pocket of my pants for most of the time and filled it up whenever I needed to. I believe this holds about 12 ounces, and there's like a lock mechanism here, so that way the water's not, you know, leaking out when you're not drinking from it. I also had a water bottle carrier, which is actually on the side here, on the bottom side here, I attached a little water bottle carrier. So I would just get like a 12-ounce bottle from the market the night before and just place it on there. And if I ran out of water here and I was nowhere near a place to replenish it, I just drink from that other bottle. So it wasn't too much of a weight addition in terms of the water, so it's just enough. Overall, my pack weighed at most 17 to 20 pounds, depending. And it's something I trained with prior to walking the Camino. So when I would go hiking, I would take my pack with me with everything in it, so that way my back would get used to the weight that I was carrying. So I wasn't, you know, surprised by the time I you know, was walking over the Pyrenees. I was like, oh my goodness, this is too heavy, yada yada. So I was able to carry all of this at most through all my days there, except for maybe 2 days I had to have my pack transferred because of, you know, longer mileage or because of my ankle. So definitely listen to your body in terms of how it's feeling. Toiletries, a lot of it's just like the essentials I would normally use while I'm here, something that my skin is used to. But you could definitely get a lot of those items in Spain when you're there, especially at the pharmacies. They're very helpful in terms of, you know, helping you figure out what you need essentially. But, you know, some of the like the meds and stuff that I brought, I probably would get there instead next time. But overall, shampoo and stuff, I took a shampoo bar, which I initially lost after a few weeks. So I found a small shampoo bottle, one of the following towns, which is a good way to, like, you know, Camino provides. Well, that's pretty much, you know, what I brought with me. I will put the link in the description as well as in the pinned comments and hopefully up here in the corner. I put together a little spreadsheet in terms of where I stayed, what towns I stayed in, and everything that you see here and how many of each item that I brought. So take a look at that. Hopefully it'll help you out. If you have any questions about the Camino, let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you to my best of my knowledge. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to walk another Camino soon, so stay tuned. In the meantime, we have some other adventures to get to first. So until then, I hope you're all doing well. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you all next time. Take care.